I've applied the base coat, the base wash, to the face and the hands and the feet. And what I've done is mixed Timber Brown, the Tan Canyon, and just a little bit of Scarlet together, and added a lot of water to give a light wash, to give a base skin tone. I've done that, and now I'm going to go through and add color and shading. And by doing that, I'm just going to start off adding just a little more of the wash in the areas that I know are going to have shading. And since we're doing detail work, I've got a fine liner brush, so I can add the details if I have to. Otherwise I can use the edge of the brush to cover a greater area. Left, so we get the shading, shadow from the head coming this way. And we'll pull the skin tone down into the beard a little bit. You know, where the hair's a little sparser, skin tone will show through. Add to the realism a little bit. If you're not too sure on where to shade on portraits, faces, a good idea to start with till you get comfortable with it is pulling pictures out of magazines and studying them and figuring out which way the light's coming, and using those pictures to see where the shadows fall on facial features when light's coming from different directions. Now we're going to add some, I've already added some blue to the wash. And add in more for the shading. Just keep building up shades, and it helps build the form. I'm going to do now is put in a little bit of color, put a little bit of red in, scarlet red in the wash of the skin tone. I'm going to come back in on the cheeks and add a little bit of red tint. And what I'm going to do is take the blue that we use for the shading for the face, just going to water that down quite a bit to where there's barely any color in the water. And I'm going to apply it to the eyes. We don't want them standing out a whole lot. Apply a little bit of the darker into the corners. Help round those eyes off a little bit. I'll use this same wash. I'm going to start adding a little bit of that to the hair. Especially with the hair, you want to make sure you're going in the direction that your hair is going. And you'll want to leave some light areas for highlights. On this side, since the light will be coming from this side, you won't want any highlights. What I'm doing now is putting the eyes, the pupils in, just using that same bluish shade tint. In there, and then you want to wait for that to dry before you put a darker color in the center. And you just keep building up the tones, and we'll add darker color to add to the hair shortly. What I'm doing now is putting the finishing touches on the hair using a darker version of the shading that we started with. I've added a little more blue and red, mostly blue, and just a touch of green to the darker areas, pushing back the areas that needed to be in the shade. And adding just a dab on the pupil and adding a little bit more to the eyebrows and the beard. And if you'll use these same techniques on the other people on the art piece. As you can see, I finished the hair and the faces. On the hair, on the blonde gentleman, what I used was a timber brown wash. Come back in with, mixed it in a little bit with the same shading blue that we used for the tablecloth, and came back in here in different layers to give it a darker tone, and also came back in, added a little bit of scarlet red to add a little bit of an orange tint to the hair. And then on the darker haired gentleman, I used the same gray wash that we used for the tablecloth, added a little more blue, a little red, and a little green, give it a darker color, almost black, in through here, and darker toward the face on the right side, since the light's coming from the left. As you can see, it's lighter on this side than here. Same with the beards. Did the same wash we used for the faces, used on the hands, and same on the feet, same washes on the skin tones. Sandals, we used the dark cocoa brown straight out of the bottle to give it a darker color so it blends in underneath the table so it doesn't stand out so much. And this concludes the picture, the Lord's Supper. I used all 12 of the EcoFlow leather dyes in the 12-pack. Thank you for joining me in coloring the Lord's Supper with EcoFlow leather dyes. This project has been a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy coloring leather as much as I have on this project. Again, this is Charlie Davenport, and thank you for joining me on this project. I hope to see you on other videos by Tandy Leather Factory.